Hi, everybody. So Angus and I were thinking about what to talk about this week, and one of the topics that came up for us that has been an area that we have had definitely differences of opinion is related to the standards of housekeeping, wouldn't you say?
Yes, that is correct.
And probably different than what a lot of people think. I'm actually the one with a lot lower standards than Angus.
That is also correct.
And it has it's been a source of contention in the past.
That is absolutely correct.
And I'm always in favor of getting help with the housekeeping. But Angus, unfortunately, has been traumatized and is at this point unwilling for us to get any help. So maybe this is my cry for help. Please help me. Help him.
It's not that I'm unwilling. It's just that I definitely feel a little bit gun shy after the last experience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. Should we tell them about the last experience, or should I tell them about the last experience? So I guess, well, to give it some context, I think I've had this issue in the past where, in terms of my career, very much been in the freelance realm, and then having to work from home or having a home office. I kind of had this really ridiculous thinking around that the whole place needs to be tidy. I can't do any work unless I'm in a tidy, ordered environment, and that completely went out the window when we had kids, and it's kind of really gone off in an even more serious direction as far as my struggles and my thinking is concerned. Or really up until, let's say, the last couple of years or so, but definitely as the kids got older and I had less chance of trying to keep any semblance of tidiness or control in my home environment, that became more problematical. But we've had some poor luck with our housekeeping, or professional housekeeping, shall we say. And on the last occasion, we had this lady come help us, and she came highly recommended. And she certainly was a lovely human being. She was really sweet. But as time wore on, we were able to come to the conclusion. Well, actually, she shared with us, and I don't know if she shared with us the fact that she was medically blind. Shouldn't laugh, but it was easy to surmise that was the case, reading between the lines from what she told us and the various hospital visits that she'd had to go on. She was medically blind, and I would say also maybe a bit of hard of it.
She wasn't medically.
She was.
Well, I know she couldn't.
No, I mean that's just a term. It's not like she was blind, but she was medically. Is that not true?
I don't think so.
Is that an outrageous use of hyperbole?
I think someone who's medically.
Okay, let's say that she had very poor eyesight,
Yes.
and she had to visit the hospital frequently to try and remedy the situation that didn't seem to improve at all. Anyway, and being maybe a little bit hard of hearing too, I made a very sick joke about.
Oh, you're hard of hearing.
No, her being a little bit hard. At least she didn't take instruction very well. So I made this very sick joke. It's like we have Helen Keller doing our cleaning for us, and that she would rush around the house with a duster, swashing away like she was trying to hit a piñata. And then subsequently, there were a lot of breakages.
Yes.
A lot of things got broken.
Yes.
And we should have seen the writing on the wall at that point. But because we really liked her and she had this health condition.
We wanted to help her. We didn't want to let her go.
Well, I did. I wanted to let her go, but I felt like I couldn't. I felt like I really didn't. I felt like it would be too mean. Anyway, so we were kind of in this situation where we didn't have great cleaning services. And then came this one day when she arrived, and Rohini, you were actually in the back of the house with all the doors shut. You needed complete seclusion and complete privacy and must not be disturbed under any circumstances. And I couldn't get good cell reception, so we both had clients that we were having to work with. So I being the more, shall I say I was
The gallant
being
one?
the gallant one, not the more gallant one. I won't say that. being the gallant one, I got in my car and drove down the hill to get cellular reception. Anyway, so I started my coaching session. Obviously, Rohini had already started hers. And then my phone started blowing up. I was getting all these text messages, and it was really infuriating. Anyway, after about 5 minutes of this, I finally thought, I have to just check my messages. And I apologized to the client. Check my messages, and it's the ceiling. There's water coming through the ceiling. Please come home. Please come home. Mrs. Ross is not answering the door. Or Mrs. Angus, I think she called. So as it turned out later, apparently this poor housekeeping lady was banging frantically on Rohini's door, and Rohini had actually had to retreat further into the recesses of the house so that she couldn't be disturbed. So she wasn't even prepared to. I think you even locked the door. And then so I get this frantic text message, drive back home, cancel the client session, and then I come through the door and there's literally cascades of water coming through the living room ceiling. And I just, it was just awash. The whole living room floor was just awash with water. And then I managed to rush out into the garden and turn the main pipe off. And then I came back in, and I guess what had been happening, she had managed to go upstairs and sever a pipe in her sort of, in the way that she cleaned, swiping out at things. I don't know how she managed to sever a pipe, but she severed a pipe in the bathroom, underneath the bathroom sink. And then slowly all this water had been building up in the ceiling, in the sub-ceiling above the living room. So it was basically like a tank of water. So when I came back into the living room, the whole ceiling collapsed, and just it was like a giant well just suddenly came through the ceiling, a whole well of water. Anyway, so that actually was the point where we parted company with this cleaning person, and there was a serious amount of damage. I mean, thankfully, there was a silver lining. We got a big insurance claim, and we were able to do some pretty great home repairs as a consequence. But suffice to say, I'm a little bit gun shy, as I say, about finding a new cleaning person at this point.
So in the meantime, that means we're having to navigate our separate realities together.
Yes.
Regarding cleaning.
And that's a very interesting exercise. And I'm doing pretty well at the moment, I think.
Well, how am I doing?
I think you're doing better. I don't think you just don't see. Well, it's interesting because I think that before you had your LASIK surgery, I used to just put it down to the fact that you couldn't see the dust and dirt. But now it's kind of like gone the other way. You've had your LASIK surgery, and now I have pretty poor eyesight. Maybe that's helped. Maybe that's what it boils down to. But I don't have nearly the same thinking about it. I mean, I don't feel now I have to do a day's work. I don't have to live in absolute pristine environment.
And it's not like we live in a slovenly mess.
No, we don't live in a slovenly mess. But there are days when it's close to it. But I don't really care about that anymore. Is there a teaching point in all this?
What do you think it is?
Well, I guess the teaching point for me is that I used to have this really crazy thinking about having to live in a pristine environment to do any good work, and I guess I used to somehow, my inner environment, my mental environment, as it were, was probably just full of static, and I think that I just decided to make the house the fall guy, so that I would actually express myself or express my discontent by complaining about the condition of the house. And I guess I'd like to think that me not moaning about the house so much anymore is a reflection of a more settled state of mind.
Not a reflection of me getting better at housework.
Or maybe a combination of the two. I don't know.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.